Hey guys, gals, and legionnaires, Rycon here, and welcome back to another Zealand update. Now, for those of you who still might be in the dark, Zealand is a Kickstarter that I'm currently running in collaboration with Stormforge Productions, and we have almost less than a week left. You can find the full playlist that describes exactly what Zealand is right up here, so go ahead and click on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Now, as previously stated, we have just over a week left to go on the Kickstarter, and we are oh so very close to reaching our goal. We are currently at 90%, but we still need to raise that extra 10% if it is going to be successful. Unfortunately, with the way that Kickstarter works, we either need to reach the goal or bust. So to everyone who has been able to pledge so far, thank you so much. But for the rest of you that still want to get on board, those days are running out. And we do still really need that support to make it over that final hump. Okay, and with that out of the way, now to the real juice of this update video. I'm going to be talking about the infection that turned the world of Zealand into what it is. Now, my good friend Isaac Tate, who is also the head of Stormforge Productions, is also a student in molecular genetics. So I knew as soon as I started doing this in the first place that I desperately wanted to have him on board, if for that alone. Being the madman that I am, I tasked him with creating something that would be believable and realistic, and we had to bend some rules, but what we created is truly terrifying. Now, I will be talking about how the infection works, but I won't be talking about the origin. And the reason I'm keeping the origin a secret is because that's a big point in the game. If you so desire, you can try and trace back this outbreak to its origin, its source. So rest assured, it's not some vague notion. We know exactly when and where it started. Alright, so before I start, those of you who might be opposed to spoilers, I suggest that you flick the video off now. Like previously stated, I won't be talking about the origin of this thing, but I will be talking a lot about it and how it affects you. The kinds of things that your character just wouldn't be able to know, but as a player and a game master, I'm sure you're dying to find out. Alright, you have been warned, so tread carefully. I'm not going to go too heavy into the science on this one, but we have fully fleshed this thing out, and it frighteningly works. So the first thing you need to know is that this isn't a virus that we're dealing with. This is an organism. The origin and the nature of this organism is a mystery to players at the beginning of the game, and for some will remain a mystery for most of it. Without a degree and the right equipment, it may never be known exactly what it is they're dealing with. And so I'm going to be telling you about our infection in that way, the way a player might come to know it in the game. Now, in order to become infected, the organism must enter the human body. When the outbreak first started happening, this was assumed to be another superflu of some kind. The symptoms were very similar, and it appeared to be spread through close contact, even through the air, which created much of the initial panic. So you wouldn't be surprised to find your character and other characters at the beginning of the game with a lot of mouth protection on. Transmission, infection, happens through spores. As infected humans attack uninfected on sight, transmission of these spores will likely come in the form of a bite or contact with infected blood. You'll be happy to know at least that these spores don't activate on the skin. Ingestion or inhalation, however, will cause these spores to activate. Touching an organism even unwittingly, and then touching your eyes, mouth, ears, or other places, will allow the organism entry into the body upon which it will activate. It can take several hours for the organism to spread throughout the human body, upon which it will take control. This is heavily dependent on the immune system of the infected person. While the immune system has no defense against the parasitic organism, it will by its nature still attempt to destroy it. The symptoms of an infection are similar to a bacterial or viral infection. This includes body aches and pains, coughing, sneezing, high fever, weakness, inflammation of the muscles, vomiting, diarrhea. The symptoms will vary depending on where the organism has spread to. E.g., coughing and sneezing will appear once the organism has reached the respiratory tract. Once the organism has reached the lymphatic system and bone marrow, it interrupts electrical signals from the brain to these tissues, ceasing the creation of white blood cells. It's at this point that all symptoms stop, and it appears that the infection has been beaten. However, the reverse is true. This is all just the setup for the final stage of the infection. You're feeling completely fine on the outside. You feel like you've beaten it. You probably feel better than you have in a long while. But your immune system has been compromised. It's not fighting back any longer. The organism is now able to reach the brain unprovoked. In the brain, the organism hinders all impulses to the forebrain and intercepts every impulse from the brain as a whole, directing it through its own pseudo-neural network, instead of the body's own nervous system. Once this occurs, the organism will assume full control over the host the next time they fall asleep. During REM sleep, the organism has grown to intercept all impulses from the forebrain and hindbrain, cutting the host off from their body. When the host awakes, it is another one of the infected, another enemy, the person you knew is not there anymore. And while there is no cure for the infection, in some circumstances it may be possible to prevent it. If a victim has been bitten by an infected, or a victim's wound has come in contact with infected blood, it is possible to attempt an amputation to prevent the eventual spread of the organism. And so, guys and gals, that is how you get infected and what happens to you after you're infected. Now, the true science behind the infection will be included in the book, so for everyone that does want to know exactly how it works, you'll be able to figure that out. But no metagaming, you won't be able to know that in the game unless you have the right equipment and know-how, or you find someone that does. So that is our infection, but there is still the infected to talk about. And that, guys and gals, will come in our next update. I'll be looking to have that one out this weekend, so be sure to check in again. We don't have just one type of zombie. There are stages, and each is as terrifying and terrible as the last. So if you would like to know more, make sure you look out for another Zealand video this weekend. We are close, we are oh so close. Just 10% and we will be able to bring this thing into the real world. Thank you once again to every single one of our amazing backers. And to everyone else, thank you for helping me get the word out there, because I know you've been doing it. Alrighty, I have been Rycon, you have all been awesome. And until next time, stay tuned.